Ich bin Aurora Dickie, ich bin Balletttänzerin und Solistin beim Staatsballett Berlin. Ich stamme ursprünglich aus Brasilien, bin aber fast 10 Jahre hier in Berlin. I started ballet because of my mother. She was a dancer in Brazil and later a teacher. And since I was a little baby, she used to take me to her school and I used to be with her the whole time. And I grew up basically in the ballet world. When I was a kid and I could walk and dance, I started ballet classes about 4 or 5 years old. And I would dance around her ballet school, but also at home and just be happy. I would get home and put her ballet shoes on and put her music also, and then just imitate the movements that she used to do in the school, and I would just do it at home. And then as I got a bit older, at age 11, I joined the Bolshoi School in Brazil, which is one of the very few schools in Brazil that offers professional training. So I studied 5 years in that school. I left home, I left my mother's house, my family's house when I was 16 in order to pursue my career. So that's definitely a sacrifice that all ballet dancers, or most of the ballet dancers, have to make, because you have to make the decision to become a professional quite early in your life. And it's very hard to go from Brazil to a company because we don't have a lot of job offers in Brazil. So we have to go to the United States or to Europe. So I had to go through a lot of ballet competitions. It took me about 2 years to do competitions, to get used to them, to be successful. So eventually at age 18, I went to New York in a huge ballet competition called Youth America Grand Prix, YAGP. And there I won the bronze medal and also the opportunity to join the Washington Ballet in the United States. By the time you join a company, you think, okay, I made it, I'm a professional now. But basically your work is just starting, because in a ballet company, you're much more autonomous. Of course, you have the ballet masters, the directors, choreographers telling what to do, but it's not so much like corrections or, oh, you have to be a certain way. It's like, it's more expected that you know what to do. It's definitely a transition period from the student life to the professional life. When I was quite young, still early on in my career, I was 21 years old. I had an injury where I had to do an operation on my foot, and the doctor told me that I basically had only 40% of chance to coming back to dance, because it was a very delicate surgery. So I could live a normal life, but maybe not dance. So that was quite challenging, and because I was in so much pain, I decided to do the surgery anyway. Thankfully, everything worked out well and I could still dance, and I still dance now, but definitely that was a challenge. Life behind the curtains is very busy here at the Staatsballett. We rehearse every day from 10 to 6. We have countless hours of learning choreography, training, preparing, especially for ballerinas, for women. We have to sew our pointe shoes for hours, and sometimes they last only for like a rehearsal or a performance. Sometimes we have bandage over our knees or ankles because we have minor injuries that it's okay to dance, but we have to endure the pain. The audience doesn't see it, and it is our job to show beauty and to make hard movements look effortless. But once we go off stage, it's like we throw ourselves on the floor sometimes, or the physio comes and help us. When I watch a football match, sometimes I see the players, going on the floor and really showing like the pain, and like that's something that we cannot do, that we don't do. So I would be lying if I say that there is no pressure, there is no competition. But throughout the years, I have really understood that the biggest competition that we have is ourselves. It's about you overcoming your own obstacles, your own difficulties, and moving forward more than just, trying to compare yourself, because that is never a good thing. Of course, we have limited spots in a dance company. We have limited spots for a big role or even a production. So there is always this kind of competition, as in like, who is going to be chosen for a cast, who is going to be chosen to get a contract in a company, or if you're in a ballet competition, who is going to win the first prize. But also in our art form, in ballet, it's very subjective. You can have all the attributes that make you a beautiful ballet dancer, but sometimes you're too tall or sometimes you're too short, you know, and they need a person that is 160 for a certain role and you're 170. And it's not because they need a short person, it's just because they like better a short person. So that's what I mean. There is a lot of subjective things that happen in ballet that it's, sometimes it goes out of your control, you know. Regarding body image, I am a tall dancer, I'm 173. And, you know, sometimes people would come to me and be like, you're not fat, you're just big. But like, even this attitude of like, big, you know, it's a little bit like, okay, what should I do with this information? You know, I can't like make myself smaller. And also with sometimes partnering, you know, some guys would just lift me and make noises like, you know, kind of saying that I'm heavy. And it's like, it really messed up my mind, because not only me, but we all look at ourselves in the mirror the entire day. So you're always looking at yourself and kind of thinking like, okay, I'm big, how can I make my thighs smaller? How can I make my body smaller? And this is something that it's not very healthy. I can say today I'm fine with who I am. I came to terms with like, this is who I am. I work hard, I train well, I can do what I can do, and you know, I cannot change who I am. So usually when I have a big and challenging role, I like to divide it in two different areas. One is the technical and what I need physically, and the other one is the mental and artistic side. During the rehearsal process, I also refine my movements to make sure that I am showing and expressing what I need. The day of the performance, I usually like to get to the theater early enough so I can go to my dressing room, do my hair, my makeup in peace, and have a lot of time to warm up, and also to make sure that I do my routine, you know, prepare my pointe shoes, make sure my costume is okay, to have the time to really get into the role and in the physical shape that I need in order to go on stage. Definitely the hardest role that I've ever danced was Odette Odile in Swan Lake. So that is the epitome of classical ballet. So everything that you see or you think of a ballerina, that's in Swan Lake. You know, it's the tutu, it's legs, it's arms of swan. It's very challenging technically, but also in character-wise, you have to portray two different personalities. You have the white swan and then you have the black swan. So that contrast also to build in one role, and to be able to hold that for 3 acts. I can definitely say that this was the hardest role that I've ever done. Since I started this career, I knew that it was not forever. I had the conscience that a dancer's career is shorter than a normal career. And I always made sure that my steps were going towards something that I could build also for the future. But yeah, there is a pressure. There is a pressure because, you know, by the time maybe you're 35 or 40, you know that you're gonna have to stop. For me, particularly, that transition would be much harder if I didn't think, you know, if I just avoided the subject. And I like to think of this transition as an opportunity. You know, we are able to have a full career, like successful, to do so much by the time we are 30 or 40. And then we have the opportunity to pursue something else, another passion, to start over.